We are back with another tabbing video. I know it's been a hot minute, but today I'm going to be covering how to tab your 2026 ICD-10-CM book. Now, this is the AAPC edition. You might have another edition. There's other different publishers that publish ICD-10-CM books. There's AHIMA, there's Bucks, there's PMICs, there's lots of other publishers out there. So if you have a physical copy of the book, mine is the AAPC edition. I like this edition because I think it's very well suited for when you're taking the CPC exam, because they put a lot of things in there that are kind of helpful for when you're taking the exam, like the different illustrations and different notations. So they all have the exact same code set in them. So it's not like one set is going to have different codes. You can navigate the code books the exact same way with every publisher's edition. But some might have different illustrations or different notations. They should all have the ICD-10-CM guidelines in them. But nice thing about this year is we did in fact get the tabs included in the ICD-10-CM book this year. My 2025 edition did not have the tabs in it. I was told that some people said that they contacted the AAPC afterwards and they were able to get the tabs. There may have been like a supply chain issue that they were able to get the books out a lot faster than they were able to get the tabs out. Like maybe the tabs weren't going to be done till December or January, but the code books were done in September or October. So they sent the books out. They didn't want to have to wait several months to put the tabs in there. And actually, let's talk real quickly about what is allowed in your books as far as tabs go. With the AAPC exams, now I'm specifically talking about the AAPC exams. AHIMA is going to be different. The NHA, they're going to be different. But you can put tabs in your books as long as it is clearly there to bookmark a page, not that you're sticking a whole sticky note in there so that you can write an extra paragraph and stick it in your book. So if you want to buy your own little tabs, you can get some at Office Max or on Amazon. You just can't use like whole sticky notes as tabs because you're not allowed to put sticky notes or loose leaf papers or anything in there. Anything that's really supplementing information in the book. And then sticky notes, they get kind of funny. Now, first and foremost, I want to kind of talk about tabs themselves. When I'm tabbing my ICD-10-CM book, I like to take my tabs page and actually just rip it out and set it to the side, because that's a lot easier to do that than it is to flip back and forth, right? I was also gifted tabs from MedicalCodingTabsCo. There are different places that you can buy tabs, like on Etsy. Some people have said that they've bought them on Amazon. I've not heard super favorable responses from the ones on Amazon. I've used MedicalCodingTabsCo in the past, and they are phenomenal. The thing I like about MedicalCodingTabsCo especially is they give you directions of where you're supposed to put all of the different tabs. They give you a lot more sturdier tabs as well. So these are great because you don't have to pay anything extra for them. If you don't have a budget, you're like, Victoria, it was expensive enough to buy these freaking books. I'm not going out there and doing all kinds of projects, buying extra tabs and stuff. Use the ones that are included. You do not have to tab your books. It is not a requirement by any stretch of the imagination, but some people prefer to have it so that they can more easily navigate their code books. And also remember, starting last year, the AAPC did permit use of eBooks for the exam. That doesn't mean you can use your own personal eBooks, but they will have ones in a shared library if you prefer having a nice, clean, easily searchable one. But some people, they like to have their paper books. I get it. Actually, let me go grab one of my older books because I want to see if these look the same as previous years. Okay, believe it or not, I still have my 2023 book, and it looks like the tabs are very similar, if not the same, as previous years. So when we look at these, we can see we have the letters for the alphabetic index, and then we also have the code sections broken down, and it says like the C codes, the D codes, etc. Instruction symbols. I'm going to open my ones in MedicalCodingTabsCo. MedicalCodingTabsCo does include a QR code that you can scan that has the instructions on it. Super, super helpful. These are the ones for CPT. I'm going to set those aside. I don't remember. I haven't unboxed my CPT book yet, actually. I don't remember if they come with tabs or not. Here are my 2026 ICD-10-CM codebook tabs for the AAPC edition. You can see it's even notated here that these are for the AAPC edition. And they really are quite meticulous about making these. So here's all of the tabs. Here's the ones for the alphabetic index. And they've noted that these are the top tabs, and then these are the side tabs. So they're even differentiated between which ones are we putting on top and which ones are we putting on the side. And you can see one of the big differences between these tabs from MedicalCodingTabsCo versus the ones that are included is here we just have, it says, for example, the H codes. This tab is much more clearly marked where it says ear and mastoid and gives the code range for the H codes. And then here's even the eye and agnexa section of the H codes. So we're even differentiating between the different code ranges within H. There's also so much more color coding, and that can really capture your eye a lot better if we're just looking at all yellow tabs versus these which have different colors. And you may, as you're going through, remember, oh yeah, when I'm looking for my eye codes, it's going to be that dark purple tab, or my neoplasms are going to be a green tab. Injury and poisoning is going to be this more teal, maybe more turquoise, I guess, kind of color of tab. It's not just about being eye-catching. It can also potentially save a little bit of time as you're navigating. It's harder when everything kind of looks the same as far as colors. They also include this beautiful alignment guide, so you can see where you're putting your top tabs versus your side tabs, so you don't have to worry about spacing things out incorrectly, which I 100% would do. I hate to say they're kind of idiot-proof, but there's a lot more to them than there are with the other tabs that are included. The tabs that are included, they just give you the tabs. They don't tell you anything else about them. This one has guides. It has color coding. It's just a superior tab set. Now, having said that, I am going to tab, I think, my 2026 book with the MedicalCodingTabsCo one, but I will also demonstrate for you how to use the ones that are included. But first I need to grab a scissors so I can cut these down the dotted line like I'm supposed to. Now, I've not seen their tabs for other editions of the code books because typically I only have the AAPC edition. I would love if other publishers were just like, hey, can you review these on your channel, Victoria, and we'll send you a free code set? Like, I'd be happy to do that. But some of these companies are so outdated that I don't know that they even know the value of YouTube and social media. Now, some of the tabs I've reviewed in the past, and I can't remember which ones were which because I've reviewed so many, had a stickiness to them that could be removed and replaced if you didn't get them correct. I believe the included ones tend to have that kind of level of adhesive, but there is a note from MedicalCodingTabsCo that they are not removable, so to really take your time, which is why it's so great that they have the guide included. They really did think of everything. Someone said to me recently that they tore out their marketing pages in their book and asked if that would be okay. I don't think anyone's going to analyze your book quite that heavily that they would notice that you ripped out like these 2 pages. You can if you want to. The only thing you're not allowed to do is you can't like white out this entire page and then write extra notes in it. Use the notes pages that you have in your book. There are whole blank pages that you can use to write notes in. So I would like to start with doing, I think, the alphabetic index. That is the most labor intensive. The first time I did a tabbing video, I think I went ahead and sped it up because I'm like, no one's going to want to sit there and watch me literally place every single tab. So I'll just do 2 or 3 and then speed up and do the rest. And everyone's like, no, Victoria, we actually would love to watch you sit there and do all of the tabbing in real time. So I am going to keep this in real time if you want to kind of follow along with what I am doing. One of the other nice things about both sets of these tabs is we have the yellow and then this part's clear so it doesn't cover up any of the text that's on the side of the book there for you. Now this part would be exactly the same if you are using the included ones or ones from another company like MedicalCodingTabsCo. So here is my section A, and I'm going to put that right there on the A. We're going to stick it down. Now I need to find the page that starts with the letter B. Now remember, we want everything facing out this way. So even if the B starts over on the opposite side, we're not going to stick it like upside down or anything like that. We want to make sure that everything's facing the same direction so that we can see it as we're going through our book. It's not going to do us any good if the tab is facing downwards or upside down. So here you can see the B actually starts on the left page when we have it opened, but we're going to put all of the tabs on the right side. So that way they're all neatly organized when we open our book and we can see all the tabs sticking out in the right order. So here is the B, and we're going to align that right there with the B. And we want to make sure that we have the B just kind of sticking out. Again, same if we were using the ones that are included. We're going to want that yellow kind of right there at the edge so that that yellow is just sticking right out. Next we have C over there with cachexia. We're going to place the tab right there. You can be as careful or as reckless as you want. It's your book, not mine. In fact, if you have time and you want to be extra and you want to like color them in with metallics or glitter or whatever, like whatever helps you out with studying or remembering, I would just recommend not spending so much time turning your book into an arts and craft project that you forget studying your practical material. So I'm sure I could go through and look at all the different page numbers. But for me, I just go, I find, for example, the letter E. Here it is. I know this is the page I want to put the E on. If you're someone that's like, yeah, give me the page numbers, you can go ahead and scan that QR code that's included if you're using the MedicalCodingTabsCo version and put those in. So E. And F. H. Next we have J. Now, if I'm going too fast for you or you need to take a little break along the way, you can feel free to pause the video and come back to it. Or if I'm not going nearly fast enough for you, you can also change the speed of the video and have me go a little bit faster. There's nothing saying that you have to watch the video at the speed that I have it at. I tend to be someone that when I'm watching tutorials, depending on what it is, I might slow it down or I might speed it all the heck up. There's a lot of stuff I watch on like 1.25 or 1.5 speed. Now, some of these pages, we actually might have 2 tabs on them. And when we get there, I'll show you what that looks like. So if you're screaming right now and going, Victoria, you're going too fast, slow down, you just go ahead and change the speed on the video. I won't be offended. Here's our P, because you might want to see that one's a little crooked, but I don't really care. I'm not that hardcore about it. So you might want to spend a little bit more time aligning yours up if you're a little more strict about that kind of stuff. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. Here we have a page where the Q and the R are actually on the same page. So we are actually going to put 2 tabs on there. We don't want to skip one, because then if we skip the Q, we might be sitting there going, where the heck is my Q tab? So it's fine to put 2 tabs on the same page if we have 2 letters on the same page. There's no law saying that we can't. A lot of things in life I've found, especially as I get older, are kind of just made up. Tabbing your books is definitely one of them, because there is no official guidelines saying how to tab your books. We have official guidelines on how to look up an ICD-10-CM code, but definitely not how to tab your ICD-10-CM book. This guide makes it so easy. Because before, what we would have to do is kind of like flip the page over and do like, is this at the right angle? Which, not the end of the world, but it was a little slower of a process. I've definitely had some instances tabbing books where my brain glitched and I just stuck them in all kinds of wrong. We might be getting to another section now where we're going to have X, Y, and Z all on the same page. Let's take a look. Maybe not. W. Oh yeah, X, Y, and Z are actually going to be on this page here for the table of neoplasms. How about that? X, Y, and Z. Look at how perfectly I got those in. Now, one thing I forgot to mention as I was talking about the book is we have side tabs and we have top tabs. If you want to put everything on the side, you can. It's sometimes easier to put things, though, some things on the top, because that way not everything is on the side, and you kind of have some things that you're kind of differentiating here, like these are the ones that I can see. It gets too cluttered if they're all on the side. As far as putting them on the bottom, I wouldn't especially recommend that, because if you're taking your bag and taking your book and sticking it in to a book bag or a carrier of some kind, they're all going to squish down at the bottom. So it's better to kind of keep them to the side and the top. All right, so look how beautiful that is. Now, is everything absolutely perfectly aligned? No, because I was going kind of quick. You might want to have yours be absolutely very intricately placed, and that's fine. Now, next we have our top tabs and then our side tabs. They are nice and thick and sturdy. So even if we are putting them in a backpack or something, they're not going to crumple up as easily as some of these would. I'm actually going to go ahead and scan the QR code to get the page placement, just to make sure I get them right. All right, so here is the tab placement guide and the different pages. So I'm going to put that right over here as I'm going through and tabbing this book. Oh, and I need my guideline for placement. So, guidelines. Here are guidelines. That kind of popped out a little easy. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay. So guidelines, and we want to put this just so that, again, like the top of the page should be right where that indentation is. If not, keep it a little bit below. We don't want to have that extra lip kind of sticking out. I want to kind of see, now that I've kind of stuck this down, if it really is very adhesive or if it can come off. Yeah, it seems pretty stuck on there now. All right, anatomical illustrations is on page 5. They do have tabs for those here, but you can see like everything's kind of oriented in a way that you would put everything on the side. I mean, you can kind of, I guess, stick it this way, but then you can't read it the right way. It's sticking up horizontally or vertically, I guess. All right, so anatomical illustrations. We're going to put that right here. And again, we want to kind of, just be careful, because we don't want it too far over the page, but we don't want it too far down that we can't read the text that's sticking out. All right, next, page 39 is our index. And here we go, alphabetic index. And then Table of neoplasms, page 367. This page is going to have a lot of tabs on it. And we do have one, again, for table of neoplasms that is included as well. I've forgotten how many I've placed so far on the top. But am I at 4 or 3? 4. Definitely 4. Okay. Here we go. Numero 4. And then the table of drugs and chemicals. If you're tabbing your books and you're like, gosh, this is a lot, it's even more so when you're trying to watch 2 different cameras at once and then making sure that they're still recording and having to edit it all together. Anyway, it is a labor of love. Next is our external cause codes. On 427, Appendix A and Appendix B, 1387. So we're flipping way back here. We don't have as many appendixes in ICD-10-CM as we do in CPT. So here's our long-term drug codes. Now again, if you have a different edition, they might have different appendices on them. I don't know what all different editions do and have. Sometimes they add in like Medicare things and different stuff. Okay, so last one, 1401. Why am I on the wrong page? There we go. 1401. There it is. And there's our summary of 2026 changes. Whew, okay. Now we've just got the other ones down the side for our tabular list. Time for a beverage break. Okay. Now for all the colorful ones. All right, I guess I need next the side tab alignment and my pages, because that'll make it a little bit easier. Make sure that I'm not sticking things at the wrong spot. So we're starting with our infectious and parasitic diseases, page 461. Which, if we look at the AAPC versions, it's just going to say our A codes on it. Yeah, A codes. Not as descriptive. So here we go. Infectious and parasitic diseases. Again, be careful here because you don't want to stick it down on the line, because then when you close your book, you won't be able to see everything that's on that tab. We want to place it closer to having this side here be towards the end of the page. Next, then we're going to go to page 487 for neoplasms. And page 531. This makes it very easy to do, having that directory. And then 543. I like that this is kind of color coordinated with this color on the side here. That's kind of great. Now, if you ever lose place and you're like, was I on 6 or 7? Just flip back and double check yourself before you wind up making a gap and then you're mad at yourself about it for the rest of the year. And then 569. But it looks like a lot of them are going to kind of match the colors. So that'll be a good indicator for you. Mental and behavioral health next is nervous, 605. And then we have iodine nexa, 631. And then ear and mastoid is 673. And again, that's so nice because these are whole different sections and we have the different tabs for them now instead of just saying H codes. Now we've gotten to the max, so we have to start back over again. But see, there's enough space between where this tab is and this tab is that we can still see what the tab says. They're not placed so closely together. Next is circulatory, page 685. Here we go. Circulatory. And then respiratory is 743. And then 761 for digestive. And we're at the 4th indentation. And next, digestive, 791, skin. And we're at tab 5. Then musculoskeletal 815 on it's a tab 6. Pink on the pink. 917 genitourinary. Tab number 7. I wonder if MedicalCodingTabsCo like orders the books every single year just to build out tabbing systems for them. Let's see here. Next is pregnancy and childbirth. Tab number 1, 943. Wrinkled my page there a little bit. Okay. 985, perinatal. And that's tab position number 2. And then we have chapter 17, which is our congenital conditions. And that is in tab space number 3. Red on red. Signs and symptoms. On page 1019, I was making a video the other day that was a Let's Code It video, and I said, let's find this diagnosis, and it was actually a sign or symptom, and someone called me out on it, and I went, well, I mean, I guess you're technically right. It's not a diagnosis. It is a sign or a symptom, but not everything on the International Classification of Diseases is a disease either, if we want to get technical about it. Okay, next is injury and poisoning, 1039, and that is tab position number 5. Only got a couple left. We're almost done. 1259, external causes. Now you can add extra tabs if you want. I sometimes recommend making a tab that says notes on it, so that if you have a specific page where you wrote like a lot of notes, like maybe abbreviations or something that you struggle remembering, you can go ahead and have that bookmarked. The AAPC tabs do include a couple of blanks. So if you want to just write on their notes or even use one as a bookmark, because I think those can be removed and moved around, I sometimes will take a little flag and put a little bookmark symbol on it in case I want to bookmark a page as I'm flipping through, like if I'm taking an exam. Okay, so external causes. I wasn't even paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm on the right spot, right? External causes of morbidity. I just did that one, Victoria. Health status 1339. Okay, health status. And that's orange on orange. And it's tab spot number 7. And last one, the chapter that people sometimes get very confused about is our Chapter 22 codes for special purposes, because they're not in alphabetical order, and they are our U codes. There we go. And that's it. I have tabbed my entire 2026 AAPC ICD-10-CM book. It looks gorgeous. And you can see, when you kind of flip just to the side like that, you can see them all pretty well as you're going through. You might need to kind of bend them over a little bit to see maybe the code range or something. But yeah, they're gorgeous, they're beautiful, they're magnificent. The way you tab for the ones that are included are very similar. You can also, again, make your own tabs if you have special tabs you want to use. I would really, though, recommend getting official tabs, like something that's a little bit more structured, like things from, I think, Avery is the company that sometimes does them. Because if you use these little paper ones, they get mashed up and torn and all kinds of stuff. And again, people might question, your proctors might question if you have sticky notes that you're using as tabs. So use things that are more clearly tabs if you're going to make your own. Now, as far as using the included tabs, when we take a look at these, all of the ones here for the letters for the alphabetic index are relatively the same. So we can go over those, but just be careful because these are the ones for the alphabetic index, the one that don't say codes after those. And then we have some others for the different tabular list codes, guidelines, etc. Now, I could not take this same guide and use it for the ones that the AAPC has because they combine some of the letters here. So like U and V are the same, Q, R. I don't know if that's because they're on the same page or because they just have them marked there because they know there's not usually a huge range of codes in those letters. But here we go. I think I'm going to try and I would say maybe do these ones for your top. Do the alphabetic index, and I would say maybe these on the top too, and then these down your side. I guess these kind of go in maybe order of where you'll find them in the book. Let's take a look. So we don't have one for our table of contents. We do have the guidelines. Oh my gosh, and I'm going to stick that, I think, on the top. Spacing's going to be a little bit different with this. So we have the guidelines, we have instructs. Let me see if that's next on here or if that's somewhere else. Yeah, so practical steps for using the ICD-10-CM codebook. Now remember, again, we're not going to put them over here because then we won't be able to see them. We want to put them so that they're all facing the same direction. So I would maybe put the instructions one there. And then symbols is actually going to go next to it because here's our instructions, practical steps for using ICD-10-CM, unless we want to put it over here on the official preface and the list of features. But then symbols would kind of go right next to it. Again, your spacing can be whatever you like. Anatomical illustrations we have here. And if you want to put these down the side, you absolutely can. You don't have to do that. For me, it seems kind of funny to have a tab for the alphabetic index when we know it's going to start with A. I don't know that this one's even 100% necessary, but we got it, so we'll put it in there. So next we're going to do our alphabetic index. The spacing guide, again, not going to be exactly the same, but you could, I guess, use it up to a maybe certain point. So we have our A. I'm going to go through these kind of fast because I already did them. B. C is over here. Now again, I'm tabbing one of my older editions with the tabs. So your page numbers for 2026 will be a little bit different. So don't so much look at the page numbers that I'm doing as where I am in the book as far as the letter or the section. We've got E, F, Another way that you can kind of keep things aligned as you're going through is when you're placing your next tab. So I did F, now I'm going to do G. I can kind of eyeball it here, and then when I go to my G page, kind of just stick it in that way, put that in, and then flip to G, keep that kind of open, and then go to my H. And then as I'm sticking H in, kind of keep that G open so I can see alignment-wise where to stick it next. Oop, that was way off, Victoria. I'm not the best with getting things perfect. So H, I, and again, if you want to slow down the video and have it at the pace you want, you are absolutely happy to do that. H, I, with the AAPC version, we don't have quite as many tabs for the alphabetic index, so we don't need to place them quite as perfectly as we would for ones that go over all of the letters individually. Next is M. We got a flipped upside down now. Be careful and make sure that you're putting them in not upside down, that you're putting them in right side up. Having a little bit of trouble with this one. There we go. M. Well, M, yeah, just M, not M and N. We have N and O as separates. We don't have them together. M, N, and then to our O. And P. So remember, even though P starts over on this page, we're putting the tab here because we want it facing the direction that we can see it. Q and R are together for the AAPC edition. So QR. Next we have S. I'm going to move this down a little bit. I only have 3 more for the alphabetic index. We have T. We have U and V. And then our W through Z is all one tab. Okay, there we go. Right after that, we have our neoplasm table. So I would start back at the top with that. Neoplasm table. Now, I don't know. I feel like I might want to put this one back on the top. I think I would put the rest of these up until we get to our alphabetic. I'm sorry, yeah, up until we get to our tabular list. I would put these on the top. So I'm going to put here, let's see what I have on the top so far. Alphabetic index, I'm going to put table of neoplasms here. Just enough, far enough out so I can see it. And then I think I'm going to put my table of drugs just a little further away from that. Again, there is no right or wrong of where you want to put these. If you want to put them on the side, you can. But I'm just kind of showing my thought process of where I would put them. And I'll show you in a sec kind of the view that we have then. So when I close my book here, I have enough space that I'm like, okay, guidelines, instructions, symbols, alphabetic index, but then I can see here's my different tables here, and they're kind of a little bit closer together. Now next we have, there's a tab for the tabular list, which again is just the same page as A codes, but, well actually I guess not, because maybe, no, I would put these on the same page. So here we go. You can space them out, whatever method really speaks to you, but here's our tabular list. And I'm going to put right underneath that, here is the A codes. And then we're going to go to our B codes, which is still in chapter 1. So definitely a different thought process of tabbing for these versus some of the other code sets. So here's our B codes. So instead of separating by chapter, they're separated by the starting letter. Here's our C codes. I'm actually going to maybe move this down a little bit. Now you can kind of put them all in a row and start again, or you can just space them out a little bit and then repeat the rows after that. Again, there's no right or wrong way. If something makes different sense to you, then do it whatever way will make you more efficient. Here's our D codes. Again, same chapter. And then we're going to go to our E codes, which are the start of our chapter 4. And then we have our F codes, which are our mental health codes. I'm actually going to flip this around so I can see it a little bit better. F codes. And then G. And then our H codes are all grouped together. Even though they're different chapters. And then our I codes, meaning the letter I, because our I and Nexa codes are actually in our H codes. And then after that, we have our J codes. I'd be curious to know if anyone like listens to this and actually likes it in the way that you would like ASMR videos. Could you imagine if I promoted this as an ASMR video? Hey everyone, we're going to be tabbing our ICD-10-CM books today. That's what you got to do. You got to tap on stuff, right? So I'm looking for K. K, oh yeah, that's the red section here. It's harder to tell what's where when you don't have that nice color coding and everything's just yellow. Again, these are fine because they're included. They're not going to cost you anything extra, but if you're like, if you've got the budget and you're taking an exam, it might be worth it to purchase a tabbing set. And then on M, we have here musculoskeletal. N. And then the O codes, ORROB codes. I am sure that the way I might be tabbing right now is probably going to upset some people because I'm just schlepping them on there. Here's our P. And then we need our Q codes. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. And then after that, we have, I'll flip it back around to get to the R codes. I think that'll be the last one I put on the bottom here, and then start back on the top with my S codes. And actually, that might not be a bad one because those S codes, that's a big section. That's all kinds of injury and poisoning, external causes, so a lot of traumatic fractures and things. Then we get into our T codes. Again, same chapter, just different starting letter. So T, U, oh, that's right, our U codes. They aren't in the right order because our U codes are in chapter 22, which is all the way back here. It's that tiny little chapter back here. So now I'm confused because do I want to, I guess I'll move it down here. I already took it off. And then I'll have to go back over here because our U codes are in chapter 22. So U, and then back here for V is our chapter 20. And I'll kind of space it out, I guess, so that I have enough space to have the appendices then right at the bottom, and then that'll be it. So T, U, V, W, W, X, Y, Z appendices. W, oh, I went too far. X, Y, and then Z right there at the orange. And then there's our U codes. And then the appendices, I'm going to stick right there at the end. Ugh. There we go. So there I tabbed everything with the AAPC tabs. Now you can see these are a little bit all flimsy compared to some of the more sturdy ones that I have with the ones that I got from MedicalCodingTabsCo. They're more prone as you're like stuffing your book in your bag to kind of get smooshed up, but they're not too bad. So when we look at the AAPC ones versus our nice colorful ones that we bought on our own, you know, you can again make these on your own if you want. You can make your own tabbing systems. If you want to get out your glitter pens or your neon pencils or whatever and make your own tabs, that is absolutely allowed for any AAPC exams. HEMA, NHA, some of those other fly-by-night organizations out there might be very different. Now, with these extras, is there anything I recommend with them? You might have certain sections that you use a lot, like maybe diabetes, you want to do that. You can also, if you wanted to, with the AAPC ones, before sticking them on, like if you wanted to write, if you can write super tiny, you could get maybe a really fine tip Sharpie and write on them which chapters they're in. If you want to maybe have, again, a bookmark, because remember, you're not allowed any loose leaf paper or anything like that for any of the AAPC exams. If you wanted to put maybe a little bookmark symbol on that and then just use that for marking your page, you could do that as well, because we are allowed to use tabs to bookmark a page, but not to supplement information in the book. So I hope that helped you out. I will be producing ones on tabbing the CPT book and the HCPCS book. The HCPCS book for 2026 is coming out late this year, so I don't think it's even probably gonna come out till late December, early January. So I'll hopefully be getting a HCPCS tabbing video out then. But the good news is there is tons and tons of other content that you can find here on the channel, as well as Instagram, as well as LinkedIn, as well as Facebook, as well as TikTok. I am on all major platforms. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.